Ready? He's in the room. Okay, I would like to call this meeting to order if I can, representatives. First of all, visitors, thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank many of the visitors in the room for your communication with us. Representatives, thank you very much for your communication to me. I'm very proud of the last year's efforts for the state of this committee, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago to you, and I'm equally as proud of what we are doing currently in trying to improve the lives of our young people in this state, as well as our teachers and employees within school system. We're also somebody I want to introduce in the room, just for everybody to put your eyes on and to make her known in the room. But we have an intern that is working with me from Georgia State. I'm very proud that she is being here, learning and being very involved. I believe a Gwinnett County graduate, Jennifer. Is that right? And up at Georgia State. But members, let's welcome the intern when you see her, Jennifer Lynn. Thank you, Jennifer. Just wanted to commend her on that of digging in and being a big help and learning down here. With that, let me turn over Representative Clark. Do you mind doing a prayer for us?
Just close our eyes. Dear Lord, I just thank you for today, God. But I just pray first that you would just be with Chairman Smith's family, God, in this grieving time with the 3 soldiers that we lost in defense of our nation, God. Just be with their families as they grieve, Lord. And just also be with us today, God. Help us to always have wisdom to make sure that we're doing right by the children of this state and the teachers, God, and the counselors, and just be with us, God, as elected leaders, to have the wisdom, God, to do right. And I just thank you for today. In the name of the Lord Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Representative. The first bill on the agenda today is HB 941, one that I'm carrying. Education capital outlay funds may be used for educational facilities for pre-K programs. We'll turn the meeting over and let Vice Chair Hilton run the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you're a long attending member of this committee, you've heard that running joke. But, I had varsity today, so I'm feeling pretty good. All right, Mr. Chairman, I am reading from LC 491724S. Looks like we have a substitute, and I will turn the floor over to you.
That's correct, Vice Chair. Members, this bill right here, currently school systems cannot receive capital outlay money for constructing on their schools a pre-K classroom. So they can do a kindergarten classroom, just not a pre-K classroom. Capital outlay money is money that we have, that we appropriate from the state to school systems, public school systems, to build schools, classrooms, renovate, maintain their facilities. So with that, you could imagine that if I have a crowded school and I am growing as a school system and I put a pre-K classroom in that building that is eating up that space, I am not qualifying or it starts to work against school systems to have them within the building because it's a space, but it's using up the space, but it is not helping them accrue the entitlement dollars, the capital outlay dollars that they would to construct that classroom. So frequently in our state, you would see those classrooms moved outside of that building into another location, whether that is privately run pre-K programs or to an older, possibly phased out facility. So what we have done with this bill was to allow them to count that classroom as a pre-K classroom towards their capital outlay dollars that they receive. We did provide a substitute for you, and it was just for clarification purposes in the terminology that we have here. I believe you'll see that, and I'm just going to read the underlined areas to highlight that for you on line 14 and 15. And of any voluntary pre-kindergarten programs provided and operated by the local school system as part of the Georgia's pre-K program. So we clearly defined where this capital outlay money was going to the public school system and the capital outlay. If you would also flip over to page 2, you're going to see lines 32 through 35, and may include projected student counts for voluntary pre-kindergarten programs provided and operated or anticipated to be provided and operated by the school system as part of the Georgia pre-K program. So again, clarification of who was receiving this money. So that's what this bill does, simply allows then that the architect, when they are drawing up the design, can label a classroom pre-kindergarten, and then they qualify for funds for that, putting that program in there. We also, in studying early learning, we have quite a few other recommendations that I believe most of you have heard and have seen the results of. I think they're all very beneficial and pointing out the importance of us being able to work with our even younger students than we currently have written in QBE, which is written for K through 12. Now, this does not change QBE. We're talking about only capital outlay money, and that is for school construction. So pre-K is going to stay lottery-funded program, except for in allowing the pre-K classroom to qualify for funds to build a classroom on a public school form. So, Mr. Vice Chair, that's the bill. I'd be willing to take questions. And I do want to point out that the director of the program for capital outlay in the state of Georgia is in the room. So if there's clarification questions, I would ask him to come in. His name's Mike Sanders. He's the director of it. And he also wears two hats. He does transportation for our state too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just thank you for the work that you, Speaker Pro Tem Jones, Chairman Dubnik have done for early learning, including this bill here. This is something that's really going to have an impact. I'm going to go to my right with the first question here, number 24.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my question is twofold. Number one is, why wasn't it included in the first place?
Representative, I'd have to go back and do some searching, but as we wrote QBE, the Quality Basic Education Act in the 80s, middle 80s, we wrote it for kindergarten through 12, as I mentioned, and pre-K was, we made mandatory 6 years old to come into school so they could choose whether to come to K, and that filled the need at that time for the state in education as we funded this program. So I don't think it was trying to be neglectful, but over time we've realized the importance of working with a lot of students, even younger time, and getting them more prepared to come to us to be in our kindergarten grade. And I guess it's just very important for us to evolve in education, and that's what's occurred in this point in time. They weren't deliberately left off for a reason. It's just, I think, as we realize the development of the young child, we need them earlier. And we did that when we started the lottery-funded pre-K, and we're working with tens of thousands of children right now. I would hope this bill also would increase our public participation in pre-K. This is valuable to parents too, from the standpoint we could look at this as, if they can get them there in their school, not only are we able to work with them and help those children, but then those parents are able to go back to work instead of having to have somebody home tending to the child. So this could be a workforce development bill if you look at the broader impact of this.
Good. And Mr. Vice Chair, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make the motion.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We got a few more questions. I'm going to go to my left, number 16.
Same thing, at the appropriate time.
Yep. We got a couple more questions. I think I saw number 26 to my right.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Chairman, for the bill. I think it's so great that we are expanding the pre-K program. We have, as you mentioned, just for clarity for the people watching, the lottery is paying for the students to attend, but for those local school systems that don't have the funds to actually open a new pre-K classroom, this bill will serve that purpose. So thank you for bringing the bill, and I'm looking forward to it passing out of committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have made the recommendation to representatives to increase, for the first time since we've started the pre-K program in this state, the amount of money we give the system to start a classroom. I believe the number is about $8,000 and is going today in the recommendation, Chairman Dubnik, I believe, is to $30,000, which is more realistic what it costs to open up a classroom and equip it and get the teacher ready to go. So there's a lot of positive to this, I think, and this is just one of those pieces.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to go down to my right, Representative Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again for bringing this bill. One tiny small thing is, I think, on line 3. Didn't that need to be under line 2, the certain? That was in the last version. Because, well, I'm looking at the 164 version, and it's not underlined. Yeah. Okay.
1634?
Yeah.
And what are you asking there?
It's not a, it's just, I'm sorry, I had inserted on that 1634 that we had inserted the word certain, and I don't see that. I mean, I see it's here, but it's not underlined, so it's not.
I'm going to let our legislative counsel
no
weigh
big
in.
deal, but
The lines 1 through 6, the title of the bill, we only use strike through and underline in codified language.
okay,
So
great. Thank you so
Perfect.
much.
Awesome.
Good. And then I just had a question about the reason that this additional language was necessary to this voluntary pre-kindergarten programs provided and operated by the local school system as a part of Georgia's pre-K program. I just wanted to, was that necessary because we have some other pre-K programs that are not a part of the pre-K, or is it this, or is that like, is it in regards to, we have some 3-year-old programs, or programs with 3-year-olds, and they would not qualify? Or I guess I'm just wanting to confirm why that additional language. Like, who's not being covered, I guess is, my question.
First of all, the department came to us with these recommendations, but I'll let legislative counsel respond to that if he would, please.
Yeah, there are really a variety of different programs that are offered in the before kindergarten stage of education. So these are the Georgia's pre-K program that are lottery funded program that are subject to Department of Care and Early Learning rules regarding the certifications that personnel have to have and other regulations. So these are the regulated voluntary pre-K programs that are administered by the DECAL department.
Okay.
Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
that does answer my question. Thank you.
Great, thank you. One last question down here in front to my left, Representative Glaze with a question.
Thank you so much, Chairman, for bringing this great bill. I do want to just ask, and maybe this is a question for Mike. I want to make sure that I understand that the facilities can be a new build or a refurbished school. So it can be both, right?
That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, it can be. They receive money based on the age of the facility for either to refurbish, as you put, to renovate those buildings, as well as money for new build. But it would qualify for both of them.
Thank you so much. And then last but not least, just a quick comment. I absolutely think that this is a support for workforce development. It absolutely is. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dean. That exhausts our questions here. Is there anyone in the audience who's come to speak to Bill who'd like to? You're a smart audience, and we don't take comments. So,
Enjoy your last time.
I have a motion. Would you like to make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that LC 49172. No,
Awesome.
right
Do
one.
we have a second?
724S do pass.
Second. From the man who may be taking my job. All right. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion to do pass, say aye. All against, say nay. All right. Thank you. Congrats, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. And members, thank you, and thank you for the momentum that we're building to do good for our young people in this state. Let's go to our next bill. I believe on the list here is HB 987. Representative Cannon, if you would, up to the podium there. And you're welcome to sit if you like, or you're welcome to work right there too. But we will turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Prefer to stand if that's okay. And good to be back before the full committee this time. I'm working off, let's see, it's LC 491738S.
Hold on one second. Read it one more time for me.
LC 491738S.
Okay. Yes, sir.
That's correct. So just want to thank the chairman, thank the pro tem. A lot of back and forth discussion on this bill, and appreciate Ledge Council as well. It's a good bill. We discussed it in just a couple of versions we worked through. But essentially the bill does two things. It basically accommodates for a pretty good rise in property value since 2019 when the threshold for equalization funds was set at 14 mils. It was actually set in language, bill language in 2015. It went from 12 to 14 over those 4 years from 2015 to 2019, and incremental steps, so from 12 to 12 and a half, 13, 14, where it remains today. And then the second point of the bill, it also provides an enforcement mechanism to reduce any equalization for any school systems who set a millage rate below that new threshold of 10. So just some background, and when this thing was set at 14, the digest, the value of state property was at a certain rate, around $400 billion. If you fast forward to today, 2023 or 2024, the value of the digest of the property values in the state has gone up to about $700 billion. Also you've got some increases in sales tax collections. Some school systems have a lost and e-lost. And we are at record sales tax collections. You've got internet sales, which was not included in 2015 or 2019. We do have internet sales collections now, and that penny is designed to put downward pressure on the local school millage rate. Just so happens that if you get to that 14 level and you can roll back your rate, you could possibly lose equalization funding. And because of the increase in the digest, the bill proposes taking that millage rate from 14 down to 10, just lowers the threshold by 4 millage points. And that essentially is what the bill does. Any questions?
Let me open up with one. Of the 181 school systems in the state, how many receive equalization funds from the state?
Mr. Chairman, that's 128 school systems receive equalization funding.
So not all of them do,
That's correct.
but 128 of the approximately 180 school systems
That's
do. Are you aware of, in equalization dollars, how much money is then distributed out to those 128 school systems?
I don't know the total amount, I probably should, but I think it's a good amount of money.
I'm looking at it here, it's over $1 billion.
Yes, sir.
So very important to our systems that are in the most need for these funds get extra funds to educate their children. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I'll just make an extra point. We've had the case where some school systems have lowered their millage rate below the 14 threshold and are continuing to receive equalization. So the other, I mentioned it earlier, but point 2 of this bill is to provide some kind of clawback provision for those that go below the new threshold of 10. And it's equal to 25% of their equalization funding. So it put the state in the position of providing money to school systems and equalization funds that roll below the 14 millage rate, but a school system may not get it if they did the same thing. So it lowers the threshold. I believe that no system is currently below 10 that receives equalization, so it gives school systems a chance to roll back further if they can, and then adds that clawback provision for any system that goes below the new threshold of 10.
And this would not affect any of their equalization dollars as long as they stay above 10.
That's correct.
The same number of that they qualify for an equalization would stay the same.
That's correct.
Okay. We do have a question then. Thank you, Representative. Thank you for bringing this bill.
Yes, sir.
I think
For the
this is a local control. The local systems then can move their millage up and down based on what they want without having this watermark. So thank you for bringing that. Who is 23 down there? There you go, Floor Leader Wade.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for bringing the bill. And I apologize for not getting asked this question on the floor earlier today. It's fairly simple, but you've got the whole laundry list of all the systems. How many systems are currently at 11 or below on their current millage rate? I know the reason I asked my district, one of them is at 10.5 or 10.8, and I just want to have an understanding. I'm assuming those are most of those counties that don't receive equalization, as you indicated earlier, but how many systems are close to 10 currently?
I'm tracking, there's 2 that are close to, at 11 right now.
Okay.
And that's Putnam and Thomas.
Okay, and then Dawson's at 10.8?
That's correct, 10.8. Hart's at 10.9, Crisp at 10.4. Dawson, however, does not receive equalization, so if they wanted to go below 10, they could still do that.
Currently, right.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. Just want to make sure I had a good understanding of that.
Seeing no other questions, what's the will of the group?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that if okay, Chairman Levitt would like to speak to the bill. If not,
That's right, Mr. Chairman, I'm just here for moral support. This is important to my district, some of the school systems in my district, and I had planned on doing something of this nature myself. I was glad Representative Cannon took the lead on it, and I just want to endorse the bill. I think it's very much needed out in rural Georgia.
Thank you, our chairman. Apologize for not noticing. Wait, I've got, and it might be a question. Let me go to this. Vice Chair.
No question. I was going to make a motion to pass.
We got a motion to pass. Do we have a second? We have a second. All right. Well, let's vote on this for his first bill in education. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Your bill passes.
thanks, Mr.
Please.
Chairman.
We'll
Appreciate
send
it.
it on. Thank you. Visitors, thank you very much for being here. I would like to announce to the members that we had our regular scheduled subcommittee meetings for Monday, but with us not being in session for The funeral, as you know, we are looking for a time for both committees on Tuesday. They both have multiple bills, so we would need your presence if we can get you there, and as if we can find room on Tuesday. It might end up where we have to do Tuesday and Wednesday, and then back to our regular meeting on Thursday again next week. So just know Monday threw us off schedule a little bit with not being here, and we will have some bills and trying to schedule meetings. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.